Okay guys, I'm sitting here with my Roborock vacuum cleaner. It is a Q5 Pro and I'm getting an error with the left wheel. I could not find any good videos on replacing the wheels on this unit, so I'm going to make one for it. I did the right wheel, right wheel, yeah, previously. The left wheel is gonna be exactly the same, but I'll walk you through the process in steps. First thing we're gonna do, guys, is remove the cover. There's a number of screws along here, and we're gonna remove the brush. So we're gonna start with the brush, and then we're gonna take out these screws along the base, just to take them apart. Okay, got the brush off, and now we're going to take off the rest of the screws for the base. Okay, we got all 8 screws removed, and so now this piece here comes off. I'm just going to detach that. You'll see the unit is pretty dirty. I haven't cleaned it. I'm doing this straight up on the fly. We will clean it before we put it back together. Okay guys, next thing we're gonna move out and take this cover off. There's 4 screws that hold this back cover on. Okay guys, sorry, mistake there. This back cover is attached to the main cover, so there's a lot more screws than just the 4 at the back. And we're gonna pull the battery out first. Battery's attached with a little clip in here, pretty easy. Okay, you can see the little clip on the battery there. It's just your standard 4-pin plug, and it clips in right there. And we'll get to taking the rest of these screws out. Okay, another small thing. We got to take off this rim here first, this little bumper. Because the back panel recesses underneath it. So we're gonna take off these screws along the outside here first, and this is a two-piece unit. You'll see it when it's apart. Okay guys, so we got this apart. Here are the 2 pieces. The bottom ring just locks it in, and you'll see on the front here, it just covers over these springs, which I guess are the bumper sensors. We'll continue now with the rest of these screws to lift off the whole base. Okay guys, missed it, but this little motor also has to come out before this cover can come off. So we're gonna take that out right now. Okay guys, once the motor is out, here's the motor. There's 3 screws that hold it on the sides. Don't take out these 2. There is 1 more screw right down there, right here, that holds this top cover on. And then when you lift it up, it's almost like the top cover comes off, and then the bottom cover here, this piece here always falls away. You will have to put it back, but we'll cover that at a later step. Okay, so now that we have the unit flipped over, this is the wheel motor assembly that we're going to change. First thing we got to do is detach this spring right here. And what I have found honestly works the best is a small micro screwdriver. Just hook and pull. And so I'll quickly do that and bring you right back. Okay guys, we got the spring removed. So now we're going to remove this switch and this plug. You do want to be careful of your wire routing so that you're not putting wires in pinch points afterward. But there's only 1 screw here, and then you can use a little flathead to pry this one open. Should come out fairly easy. We'll bring you right back when those are removed. Okay guys, we got the switch out and the plug out, and the wires run. Or the wires pulled out of their routing. Made a note of it. Okay, so now we have to take out this little sensor right here. I'm gonna grab a flashlight and show you guys where to get the thing. The sensor pulls out but you do have to be very careful because it's super easy to crack. There's a little clip, and I'll get a flashlight and see if we can zoom in. Okay guys, so I had to turn up the contrast on my camera here so you can see this, but I don't know if you can even make it out. There is a small ridge right here, and then on the back of the sensor here, you're gonna see two small clips. Those interlock with the ridge, and so in order to get it out, you kind of gotta get a flathead screwdriver up and underneath, or down and underneath, and then the sensor slides up to the top of the unit. Now we have to pull that out in order to access the shaft here for the wheel. And so I'm gonna knock out that shaft. It just slides out into this section from this section, and then we're gonna work on maneuvering this to get the wheel out, but we'll come back before then. Okay guys, got the shaft pulled out there, and now, as you're gonna see, this here is gonna take some finagling to get out and around. You will also have to probably pry it around this little lip in the plastic. You'll see from the bottom side you really have no access, so it definitely has to come out the top. Over here it's disconnected from everything, and then we will have to reconnect the spring that goes between this point and this point once we have the new one in. But taking this out is a little bit tricky, just a lot of wiggling and a lot of moving. And so I'll bring you back as soon as I've either gotten close or gotten it done. Okay guys, this little clip here, had to pry it around this little edge here. And as you can see, the motor is gonna roll right out here. I'm just gonna have to flip it over and get the wires, but I just wanted to show you this little clip and this little edge. Those are where I had to pry. Okay guys, back again. New wheel is going back in. We're just gonna drop the wires in and roll it back in, and then pry this back under, same as before. And then I will flip it over and we'll go to hooking up the spring and the sensors and the plug. I'll be right back. Okay guys, got the wheel back in, put the shaft back in. The wheel is here, so flip the unit back over. Should probably tape up this floppy fan, but the last couple times I've had it apart, it hasn't been too much of an issue. And so we're gonna get this sensor back installed, and then this sensor bolted back in over here, and then we'll get the plug right here routed and plugged back in over here, and then we'll have you back in a sec. Okay guys, I gotta do a little tucking with the wires here, but you'll see we have the switch here installed again. The wires run around. This wire gets clipped back in, so I'll clip that in a second, and then the plug in here. We have our other plug here, and then we have our spring put back here, and we're gonna start reassembly in just a minute. So let me get these wires routed, and we'll put the cover back on top and then flip it over to put the screws in. Okay guys, one thing I didn't mention, you do have to line up the fan. It has these tabs that kind of fit into these little grooves that keep the blower aligned with the exit. And does kind of line up with that piece there. And so just gotta make sure that's in position before you put the top back on. And we'll grab this top and get it put inside. Okay, so we have the top put back on, as you can see. This right here is the side where that fan motor is. And what I'm gonna do is put a couple of screws in right here. This one and that one there, just to hold this piece together. Because of the intake there, or the bump on the top, it doesn't quite sit flat and the motor can come out of position. So just a heads up. All right, we got the screws all screwed in for the top. And now we're going to reinstall the side brush motor right here. That motor just fits in and has 3 screws that hold it in place. So we'll tighten those up and move on to the next steps. Okay, side brush motor is installed. That's our old motor. We're going to reinstall the front bumper now. The front bumper has to interface with these two, and then this one locks it in. So it is a little tricky to put on, but if you're careful and go slow, it should line up like that fairly easy. And then you just attach this one and it'll keep it attached to the thing. There's all these little screw holes. I like to work one side to the other, but I don't know that it matters. Okay guys, back again. We have this front bumper installed. All the little screws attached in the front. We're going to reinsert our battery. And so, a little tricky for me to do one-handed, but we're going to plug it in and try and get you guys so you can see. Okay. Super lack of coordination. Slip our battery back in. Make sure our wire tucked nicely in there. We are going to put the screws in for this, reinstall our brushes, and we should be good to go. Hope this helps, guys. I know I struggled with the first wheel. Didn't find any repair videos. So for a Q5 Pro Plus maybe, double check the model, but I think it's a Q5 Pro. And should be able to change the wheels yourself fairly easy. Took me just over probably about an hour in between cuts. So have a great night. Hopefully everything works out for you guys.